Vela sat in the cold, dark cockpit of her escape vessel. The small ship drifted through space, powerless, its engines long dead. The only sound was her own breathing, slow and weak. She had been running for too long, and now there was nowhere left to go. She looked out through the cracked window. Stars stretched endlessly before her, beautiful but distant. A deep sadness filled her heart. The galaxy was so vast, yet no one had answered her distress signals. No one cared. Her people, the Xilari, were being wiped out. The Galactic Council had decided they were unfit for survival. One by one, their colonies had fallen. Their cities had been abandoned, their ships destroyed. The Council had forbidden all civilizations from helping them. Even those who once called the Xilari friends had turned away. Vela had escaped by pure luck. Her family was gone, her home lost. Now she was just another forgotten survivor, drifting through space, waiting for the end. She checked the ship's systems again, even though she knew what they would say. Oxygen was running low. Power reserves were almost empty. She had enough for maybe a few more hours. Vela closed her eyes. Should she send out one last distress signal? It felt pointless. The last 5 signals had gone unanswered. No one would help. But then, her fingers moved on their own. She pressed the button. A final call for help. One last hope before the darkness took her. She leaned back in her seat and whispered, "Please, someone, anyone." A light in the darkness. For a long time, nothing happened. Seconds turned into minutes. Minutes turned into an hour. Vela felt her strength fading. Maybe this was how it would end. Alone, forgotten, unwanted. Then, beep. Her eyes snapped open. Another beep, and then a voice. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Daniel Carter of the human ship Odyssey. We received your distress signal. Do you need assistance?" Vela gasped. She almost didn't believe it. A response. Someone had answered. But humans. That was impossible. The Xilari had never had much contact with humanity. They were a young race in the galaxy, known for being unpredictable and stubborn. Most of the older civilizations saw them as reckless. The Council never took them seriously. And yet, here they were, answering a distress call no one else had. Her voice trembled as she reached for the communicator. I need help. Please." A short silence. Then Carter's voice again, firm but kind. "We're on our way. Just hang in there." A stranger's kindness. The next few minutes felt like a dream. Vela's ship trembled as the Odyssey approached. Soon, a bright light filled her cockpit as the human ship locked onto her vessel. A low hum signaled the docking sequence. Her heart pounded. Would they really help her? Or was this a trick? She had been betrayed before. The airlock hissed open, and footsteps echoed in the small ship. A tall figure stepped through, dressed in a dark uniform, with a strange insignia on his chest. His short brown hair was slightly messy, and his blue eyes studied her carefully. "Captain Carter," he introduced himself. "You're safe now." Vela was too weak to stand, but she forced herself to speak. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you help me?" "The Council forbids it." Carter gave a small shrug. "Because it's the right thing to do." Simple words, but they held a weight Vela had not felt in a long time. A woman with dark skin and a warm smile stepped forward. "My name is Dr. Puddle. Let's get you checked out, all right." Vela hesitated. She had not felt kindness in so long. She barely remembered what it was like. But something in their eyes, something in their voices, made her believe. She nodded. All right, a new chance. The humans carried her to their ship. The moment she stepped inside, warmth surrounded her. It was nothing like the cold, lifeless halls of the Council's ships. Here, the walls had soft lights, and the air smelled fresh. As Dr. Puddle examined her, Carter stood nearby, arms crossed. "So, who's after you?" he asked. Vela swallowed hard. "The Zorin Dominion. They hunt my people under the Council's orders. If they find me, they will." She stopped herself. Carter's expression darkened. Then we won't let them find you. Vela blinked in shock. You would risk that? For me. Carter smirked. We don't abandon people in need. For the first time in a long while, Vela felt something she thought she had lost. Hope. Vela sat on the medical bed inside the human ship, Odyssey. The room was small but clean, filled with soft lights and quiet humming machines. A warm blanket covered her shoulders, a simple thing, yet it made her feel safer than she had in years. Dr. Patel carefully examined her, checking her vitals with strange human devices. You're severely dehydrated, the doctor said gently. When was the last time you had proper food and water? Vela hesitated. 3, maybe 4 cycles ago. Dr. Patel frowned. That's too long. But don't worry, we'll fix that. She turned to a nearby table, grabbed a nutrition pack, and handed it to Vela. It's human food, but it should be safe for you. Try it. Vela took the pack, eyeing it carefully. She had eaten many strange things while running from the Zorin Dominion, some better than others. She took a cautious sip. The liquid inside was thick and slightly sweet. To her surprise, it wasn't terrible. Not bad, she murmured. Dr. Patel smiled. Good. We have plenty more. Vela felt a strange warmth in her chest. These humans were different. They weren't asking for anything. They weren't demanding answers or treating her like a burden. They were just helping. But why? She looked up as the door opened. Captain Carter walked in, his blue eyes sharp but calm. Feeling better? Vela nodded slowly. Yes, thank you. Carter leaned against the wall, arms crossed. All right. I think it's time we talked. The truth about the Xilari. Vela's hands tightened around the blanket. She knew this moment would come. She had to tell them everything. She took a deep breath. My people, the Xilari, were once part of the Galactic Council. We weren't a powerful race, but we contributed where we could. We built ships, studied science, shared what little we had. Her voice wavered, but she forced herself to continue. Then, a few years ago, the Council decided we were weak. They claimed we weren't fit for survival, that we would only slow the progress of the galaxy. We were given a choice. Leave our homeworld and scatter, or be erased. Carter's expression hardened. They called it natural selection, didn't they? Vela looked at him in shock. How do you know? Carter let out a sharp breath. Because we've heard that excuse before. It's always the same. Someone decides who gets to live and who doesn't. Vela swallowed. We tried to run, but no one would take us in. Every system turned us away. Even those who once called us friends closed their doors. The Zorin Dominion was sent to finish what the Council started. They've been hunting us ever since. Dr. Patel shook her head in disbelief. And no one fought back. No one dared, Vela whispered. The Council rules everything. If a civilization goes against them, they risk the same fate as us. Silence filled the room. Carter finally spoke. Well, that's not how humans do things. An unbreakable decision. Vela frowned. What do you mean? Carter pushed off the wall, standing tall. I mean, we're not just going to sit back and let this happen. Her heart pounded. You don't understand. If the Council finds out you helped me, they will punish you. Carter smirked. Let them try. Vela couldn't believe what she was hearing. Why would you risk your own people for mine? Carter's expression softened. Because it's the right thing to do. Vela stared at him, searching his face for deception. But there was none. He truly meant it. Humans were different. The galaxy had mocked them, called them reckless, unpredictable, and foolish. But now, as she sat in their ship, warm and safe for the first time in years, she realized something. The galaxy was wrong. A dangerous mission. The intercom crackled, and a voice filled the room. Captain, we have a problem. Carter tapped his communicator. Go ahead. We just picked up a Zorin patrol ship. They're scanning the wreckage of Vela's vessel. Vela's breath caught. They're looking for me. Carter's jaw tightened. Then we can't let them find you. He turned to Dr. Patel. Get her settled in. We'll be moving fast. Then he looked at Vela. You're not alone anymore. We're getting you out of this. Vela felt something she hadn't in a long time. Hope. The hum of the Odyssey's engines grew louder as the ship picked up speed. Red warning lights blinked across the control panels, and the air was thick with tension. Zorin patrol ship is closing in fast. Lieutenant Reyes reported from the navigation console. They haven't spotted us yet, but they will soon. Captain Carter stood at the center of the bridge, his sharp blue eyes fixed on the view screen. Outside, the cold emptiness of space stretched endlessly, but in the distance, a dark, angular vessel was drifting near the wreckage of Vela's escape pod. Vela stood near the doorway, her heart pounding. They're scanning for survivors. If they find any trace of me. They won't, Carter said firmly. Reyes, take us into the asteroid field. Reyes hesitated. Captain, that's a high-risk maneuver. Carter smirked. Better than fighting the Zorin warship. With a nod, Reyes adjusted the controls. The Odyssey tilted, changing course toward the jagged maze of asteroids ahead. Vela swallowed hard. You humans are reckless. Carter chuckled. We prefer the word resourceful. Into the asteroid field. The ship rocked slightly as they entered the asteroid field. Enormous chunks of rock floated in the void, some no bigger than a speeder, others the size of entire cities. The Zorin ship hesitated at the edge, its scanners sweeping back and forth. They're waiting, Reyes murmured. They know we might be hiding in here. Carter folded his arms. Then let's make sure they don't find us. He turned to Ensign Bailey, the ship's engineer. Power down non-essential systems. Reduce our energy signature. Bailey nodded. Aye, Captain. Going dark. The lights inside the ship dimmed. The constant hum of background machinery softened as power was redirected only to vital functions. Now, they were just another rock floating in space. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, the Zorin ship moved. Vela tensed as the enemy vessel inched closer, scanning the asteroids one by one. They're searching manually, Dr. Patel whispered. Carter's jaw tightened. They're being careful. That means they're suspicious. If they get too close, they'll see us, Reyes warned. Vela's claws dug into her palms. She had seen Zorin ships destroy entire refugee vessels in an instant. If they were caught, the humans would suffer because of her. She couldn't let that happen. A dangerous decision. Vela took a deep breath and stepped forward. Let me go. Carter turned to her, frowning. What? If I take an escape pod and leave, they'll follow me, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. They only want me. If I surrender, your people will be safe. Carter's expression darkened. That's not happening. You don't understand, she insisted. The Zorin don't show mercy. If they find me on your ship, they'll kill all of you for helping me. Carter stared at her, his eyes unreadable. Then he exhaled. Listen to me, Vela. You're not just some passenger we picked up. You're under my protection now. Vela shook her head. But why? Why would you risk your lives for me? Carter gave her a small, knowing smile. Because that's what humans do. She didn't know how to respond to that. The plan. Reyes suddenly spoke up. Captain, I have an idea. Carter turned. Let's hear it. Reyes pointed to a cluster of larger asteroids on the map. There's a dense cluster up ahead. If we use one of the bigger asteroids as cover, we could perform a short burst engine maneuver and slip out undetected. Bailey frowned. That's risky. One wrong move, and we crash. Carter smirked. Then we better not make a wrong move. Reyes activated the controls. The ship's thrusters fired in short bursts, adjusting their position carefully. The Odyssey drifted behind a massive asteroid, disappearing from direct sight. The Zorin ship continued its slow search, inching closer. Vela held her breath. Almost there, Rise muttered, hands steady on the controls. A long, tense silence stretched across the bridge. Then, now, Carter ordered. Rise fired the engines. The Odyssey shot forward, weaving through the asteroid field at an impossible angle. Rocks tumbled past, but the ship never touched them. Seconds later, they broke free. The Zorin ship remained behind, still searching the wrong area. Bailey whooped. "We did it." Dr. Patel sighed in relief. "I can't believe that worked." Carter grinned, looking at Vela. "Told you. Resourceful. A new reality." Vela couldn't believe it. For years, she had run. For years, she had been hunted, abandoned, and betrayed. But these humans, these strange, reckless, kind-hearted beings, had risked everything for her. Her throat tightened. "Thank you." Carter clapped a hand on her shoulder. "We're just getting started." Vela knew then that she wasn't alone anymore. And for the first time in a long time, she had hope. The Odyssey drifted through deep space, away from the asteroid field and the Zorin patrol ship. The crew finally had a moment to breathe, but no one relaxed completely. They had escaped, for now. Vela sat at the edge of the medical bay, her claws tapping against the metal floor. Dr. Patel had finished treating the minor cuts on her arms, but her mind was far from the pain. She kept thinking about what had just happened. "They won't stop hunting me," she murmured. Dr. Patel gave her a reassuring smile. "You're safe here." Vela wanted to believe that. She really did. But the Zorin never stopped. They had destroyed her home, her people. She was the last of the royal bloodline, the only one who knew the truth about the Empire's dark secret. She looked up as Captain Carter entered. His usual confident smirk was gone, replaced with a serious expression. "We need to talk." Vela stood up. "What is it?" Carter motioned for her to follow him to the bridge. "We intercepted a message. A dangerous transmission." The crew gathered around as Lieutenant Reyes played the recording. The screen flickered, showing a holographic message filled with static. A deep, distorted voice echoed through the ship. "Attention all Zorin forces. The fugitive Vela has been spotted near the outer rim. She is traveling with a human vessel. Destroy them all." Silence filled the room. Reyes clenched his jaw. "They're calling for a full-scale hunt." Bailey cursed under his breath. "They want to erase every trace of her existence." Vela's chest tightened. She had expected this. The Zorin Empire couldn't let her live. Carter exhaled sharply. "They're afraid of you." She looked at him, confused. "Afraid?" Carter nodded. "If you were just another escaped prisoner, they wouldn't send an entire fleet. They're desperate to make sure no one hears what you have to say." Vela hesitated. Should she tell them? Could she trust them? She had no choice. The truth about the Zorin Empire. Taking a deep breath, she spoke. "The Zorin Empire is built on a lie." The crew listened carefully as she continued. "My people, the Valrin, were once powerful. We ruled alongside the Zorin, but they betrayed us. They wiped out my entire race and blamed it on a mysterious plague. That's what the galaxy believes." She clenched her fists. "But the truth is, the Zorin slaughtered us. They feared us because of our knowledge, because we knew the secrets of their technology." Bailey frowned. "What kind of secrets?" Vela's eyes darkened. "Their ships, their weapons, their entire military strength. It's stolen technology. They never created it. They found it on an ancient world, long before they became powerful." Reyes leaned forward. "And you know where this ancient world is, don't you?" Vela hesitated before nodding. "Yes, and if the galaxy learns the truth, the Zorin Empire will crumble." Carter rubbed his chin. "That's why they're after you. Not just because of who you are, but because of what you know." Vela looked at him. "Now do you see? If you stay with me, they will never stop hunting you." Carter chuckled. They already hate humans. What's a little more? Vela was stunned. You're not afraid. Carter's expression turned serious. I didn't say that. But I don't run from bullies. A new plan. Rice pulled up a star map. If we want to survive, we need a safe place to regroup. Bailey scratched his head. Safe. There's nowhere safe if the Zorin are hunting us. Carter smirked. Not true. There's one place the Zorin wouldn't dare follow us. Raya's eyes widened. No way. You mean Earth. Carter nodded. Exactly. Vela looked between them. Earth, your homeworld. Carter crossed his arms. The Zorin have been pushing humanity around for years, but they never attack Earth directly. Too risky. If we get there, we'll have a fighting chance. Vela wasn't sure. Will your people even help me? Carter grinned. You don't know humans very well, do you? Dr. Paddle smiled. Humans don't take kindly to tyrants. Bailey nodded. If we expose the Zorin's lies, Earth will back us up. Vela felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Maybe, just maybe, the humans could change everything. The journey ahead. Ray set in the new course. It's a long way to Earth. We'll have to be careful. Carter clapped his hands together. Then let's get moving. We're about to start a war. As the Odyssey jumped into hyperspace, Vela stared out into the stars. For the first time, she wasn't running alone. She had allies. She had a plan. And maybe, just maybe, she had a future. The Odyssey soared through hyperspace, its engines humming steadily. Inside the ship, the crew remained tense. They had a destination, Earth, but getting there wouldn't be easy. The Zorin Empire wouldn't let them escape so easily. Vela sat in the co-pilot's seat, staring at the glowing star map. Earth was still days away, and every passing second felt too long. She turned to Captain Carter, who stood beside her, arms crossed. Do you really believe your people will help? She asked. Carter smirked. You don't know humans, Vela. If someone threatens us, we don't back down. Bailey, the engineer, leaned against the wall. But first, we have to make it there alive. As if answering his words, alarms suddenly blared through the ship. Incoming vessels. Rice shouted from the control panel. Zorin warships, 3 of them. Vela's heart pounded. They found us. Carter's smirk didn't waver. Then let's show them why humans are hard to catch. A deadly pursuit. The Odyssey dropped out of hyperspace, entering a dense asteroid belt. The Zorin ships followed, their sleek, dark forms cutting through space like knives. They're locking weapons on us, Rise warned. Carter's hands flew over the controls. Hold on. The ship lurched as he maneuvered between the massive floating rocks. Blaster fire streaked past them, narrowly missing. One shot grazed the hull, shaking the entire ship. Bailey cursed. Shields are holding, but not for long. Vela's claws dug into the seat. She had seen the Zorin hunt before. They never gave up. We can't outrun them forever. Carter's eyes gleamed with determination. We don't need to. We just need to be smarter. He steered the ship toward the largest asteroid in sight, its surface covered in deep craters. Rise, fire a decoy beacon and cut the engines. Rise pressed a button. A small device shot out from the Odyssey, emitting a strong energy signal. At the same time, the ship's engines powered down. Are you crazy? Vela gasped. We're sitting ducks. Carter grinned. Watch. The Zorin warships chased after the beacon, mistaking it for their target. Within moments, they fired at it, destroying it in a fiery explosion. Bailey let out a laugh. They think they got us. Carter powered the engines back on. And now we slip away. The Odyssey carefully moved behind the asteroid, staying out of sight. The Zorin ships, believing their mission was complete, turned and left. Vela let out a breath of relief. That was impressive. Carter winked. Told you. Humans don't go down easy. A disturbing discovery. Hours later, with the danger behind them, the crew gathered in the war room. Rise had intercepted another transmission, this one more disturbing than the last. The hologram flickered, showing a cold, robotic voice. All Zorin forces, prepare for planetary containment. Earth is now under surveillance. Any unauthorized ships attempting to land will be eliminated. Silence filled the room. Bailey was the first to speak. They're blocking Earth. Rise frowned. More than that, they're preparing something big. Vela clenched her fists. They know we're heading there. Carter's face hardened, which means we have to act fast. Dr. Patil, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. What if we don't go straight to Earth? What if we find another way in? Carter raised an eyebrow. You have an idea, Doc. She nodded. Mars. A new plan. Everyone turned to her. Mars, Bailey repeated. That's just an old colony. Patil shook her head. Not anymore. The Mars resistance still exists. They don't trust Earth's government, but they hate the Zorin even more. Rise leaned forward. If we can reach them, they might help us break through the blockade. Carter thought for a moment before nodding. It's risky, but it's our best shot. He turned to Vela. You wanted to know if humans would help you. You're about to see just how far we'll go. Vela looked at the determined faces around her. For the first time, she believed that maybe, just maybe, humanity could change everything. The Odyssey changed course, heading toward Mars. The race wasn't just for survival anymore. It was for the future of Earth. The Odyssey approached Mars, its red surface stretching beneath them. From space, the planet looked quiet, abandoned, but Captain Carter knew better. Hidden deep beneath the surface, in tunnels and old colonies, the Mars resistance thrived. Entering Mars orbit now, Rise announced. No signs of Zorin patrols. Carter exhaled. Good. Let's hope they're still friendly. Vela stared at the planet. Will they really help us? Bailey chuckled. If there's one thing the Resistance hates more than Earth's government, it's aliens trying to control humans. Vela frowned but said nothing. Carter sent a coded transmission. This is Odyssey, requesting safe entry. We bring urgent news. For a long moment, only silence answered. Then, a crackling voice came through. Odyssey, land at Hangar 9. And don't try anything stupid. Carter smirked. They missed me. The hidden warriors. The Odyssey touched down inside a massive underground hangar. The moment the ramp lowered, armed humans surrounded them. Their weapons were old but deadly. A tall woman stepped forward, her short gray hair and sharp eyes full of authority. Carter, she said coldly, you have guts coming back here. Carter raised his hands. Good to see you too, Commander Wren. Wren's gaze flicked to Vela and the other alien refugees behind him. And you brought guests. You must be desperate. Vela stepped forward. My people are being hunted. Earth is in danger. We need your help. Wren studied her, then glanced at Carter. Why should we risk our lives? Carter held her gaze. Because if we fail, the Zorin won't stop at Earth. They'll take Mars too. Wren sighed, rubbing her forehead. Follow me. A dangerous plan. Inside the Resistance base, old screens flickered with maps of Earth's blockade. Red dots marked Zorin warships circling the planet. It was a tight net. No ship could get through undetected. We've been monitoring them, Wren said. They're preparing something big, but we don't know what. Patil leaned forward. That's why we need to get to Earth. We have to warn them. Wren crossed her arms. That's impossible. The moment you enter their sensors, you're dead. Carter grinned. Not if we use the ghost. The room fell silent. Bailey's eyes widened. You're joking. Wren scoffed. That ship is a wreck. Vela frowned. What's the ghost? Wren sighed. An old stealth ship. It was supposed to be undetectable, but it was damaged before we could use it. Carter smirked. But it still works, right? Ren hesitated. Barely. Bailey groaned. This is suicide. Carter turned to Vela. You wanted a chance to save your people. This is it. Vela clenched her fists. I'm in. Ren shook her head. You're all insane. But fine. We'll help. Final preparations. The resistance worked fast. Engineers rushed to prepare the Ghost, patching broken systems. Meanwhile, Carter and Vela went over the plan.